Good day, everybody. Here we are again, lesson 2. Now today we're going to have a quiz. Nothing to panic about. It's a 17-minute video about advertising and marketing, branding, that kind of thing. I didn't make it, which is why I chose it. I didn't want to just have me talking again, because I know that that's probably getting a bit boring for you guys. Also, I'm only giving you my opinion, and I'm keep going on and on about what I believe in. And I think it's a good idea that you hear this from somebody else as well. I don't think you should be absolutely listening to my opinion. I think you should be forming your own opinions. So what I've done is I found another video with a much more balanced idea. This is one that's actually promoting the idea of advertising, but also giving you some interesting facts, the kind of facts I would have told you anyway, but you're not getting it from me, so you're kind of seeing it from another side. You're kind of seeing it from somebody trying to say that advertising is a net benefit to the industry. And they're still giving you the same information I would have done, but I think it'll mean more if it doesn't come from me. Now it's going to talk about different forms of advertising, the way advertising works. I think it's safe to say that TV, magazines and billboard advertising, it's on its way out. Somebody said yesterday it's not dead. I agree with that, it's not dead, but the market share has reduced so significantly that it's no longer considered the mainstream, even TV. Because television shows just aren't what they used to be. Look at some of the big ones like Star Trek. Star Trek was one of the most important science fiction franchises of all time. Now, it's not even pulling down 1 million viewers worldwide. And that's during a lockdown where people are desperately looking for new things to do. And the new series of Star Trek can't even get 1 million watchers. They can't get people on their seats watching this episode. And that's pretty bad. And the reason is because the quality of the show, for political reasons, has declined to such a level that nobody wants to watch it anymore. People are using it as a political platform, which completely undermines the quality of the content. Star Trek used to be an exploration of the human condition, philosophy, and with entertaining sci-fi ideas. Now it's somebody's soapbox that they stand on, ranting at you about the things they believe in. And we see this across a broad spectrum of TV shows, and it's basically destroyed their value as TV shows. I mean, a television program would be expensive to make. Not as prohibitively expensive as a movie, but ridiculously expensive, way outside of the realms of the average user. I mean, one of us couldn't just go out and say, I want to make a TV show. We couldn't do it. We don't have the money, the backing. Even the people making the shows don't have the money and the backing. They have to go out and earn it. They have to go and borrow money. They have to make arrangements. They have to get production companies involved. And those people get involved with the idea that they're going to sell their television show to advertisers. So people will pay to advertise on their show. Just the same as a magazine used to have followers and it used to be worth the advertising space. So the idea is that your content is so good that people want to watch it. And then you can sell advertising space within that content. You've got a market. You've got people consuming the content. Once you've got enough people consuming the content, advertisers will put their information, their message inside your content for you, and that's what pays for it. Now, that's declined because the quality of programs has declined. Also, the cost of programs has declined, and that's also been a major problem. Now, that may sound like an oxymoron, but the reduction in cost due to cheap CGI, animations, that kind of thing, has meant that television programming is now more accessible, which means there's more of it. And the more of it there is, the less people want to advertise on it. Simple as that. Take Netflix as an example. Now, Netflix used to be a very simple company that sent you a movie, you sent it back. And they went into the digital media area hard, and they've done very well. They're not making a profit. Interestingly, they're not making a profit at all. They're making a loss, and that's with millions of subscribers, and they're selling advertising space digitally because they've got the market share. Now, this is probably going to be the way forward. Streaming services are going to take over from traditional broadcast TV channels, at least in the Western world. But it's already falling apart. Same with the movie industry, it's falling apart. Now, I predicted last year we'd be seeing smaller, more intimate movies, and that's certainly happening. Recently I watched Nobody, saw that last weekend, and Boss Level. Both of them were really good movies, made on a very small budget, with better acting than you would normally see, much higher production values than Hollywood normally produces. Better stories, more inventive, and with better, stronger characters. The difference is they just weren't made on a large budget, because those large budgets don't exist anymore. So now we're seeing smaller, more intimate movies where the writing is stronger, the characters are stronger, it's made by proper filmmakers who really believe in what they're doing, and the quality is starting to go up. The small movies are getting more entertaining. And the same thing's going to eventually be true of TV. Eventually they're going to have to shed off this idea of being a political platform, because there's no money in it, or at least there's no mainstream money in it. I mean, you've all heard of the Oscars I think it was last week or the week before. I think it was last week. The Oscars came out. Now, traditionally, that's been a huge thing where Hollywood actors give each other awards and celebrate one another's successes. Well, this year, the Oscars tanked. It didn't get as many viewers as the average PewDiePie video. That's a huge kick in the face, and it shows. Hollywood and the American media has edged very close to irrelevance now. People don't care about them anymore. They're sick of it. They're sick of being preached to. And that kills the advertising. Now, advertising is going to have to find another way to get out there into the mainstream. The first way it's doing it is digital. Digital media is up and coming. Social media is diversifying. I mean, obviously the big ones, Facebook, Twitter, all those kind of things, you can advertise on those, but again, people are moving on to new things. So the advertising industry, because it is so big, is struggling to be able to move. As an example, a motorcycle can get around a corner faster than a truck because it's just more massive. A truck can't get around the corner without planning ahead, without slowing right down, without making sure it doesn't cause any damage. It's a big deal when a truck turns direction. It's not a big deal when a motorcycle does, because it's small and light. Now, the advertising industry is not small and light. It's a huge, massive infrastructure based on the work of millions of people worldwide. It can't just suddenly stop. And the movie industry is going the same way. Marvel have got a load of movies lined up for release, and they're all woke, political agenda movies. They've been in plan for 4 or 5 years. Some of them have been made for at least 2 years, and they can't release them because the audience won't accept them. So they're wondering what the hell to do with them. James Bond's new movie is another example of that. They went completely woke. They hired a feminist writer to woke it up. They've changed James Bond from a white man to a black woman, and the whole audience has groaned, rolled its eyes and said, yeah, not watching that. And they've not been able to release it because now they've invested so much into this that apparently it's going to destroy the entire studio. The studio's gone. If they don't make a profit from this, they're dead in the water. And this is what we're seeing. So digital media is going to come up. It's going to start replacing the opportunities for advertising in what's previously been the mainstream. So it's having to diversify towards other ways of getting the messages out there. And it's having to do things like make YouTube videos and short films and stuff like that, where it's connecting with people in a different way through different kinds of viral marketing. But the old paradigm of TVs, billboards, magazines and newspapers, it's dead. It is obviously not completely, but it's not what it used to be, and I don't think it's ever coming back. Especially television, and the internet's changed it, and the internet changed it 15 years ago, probably even longer than that. Movies have been available for illegal downloads for 20 odd years, and everyone's been downloading them illegally for that time, easily all of your lives. Maybe 15 years, maybe I'm exaggerating, but it's been available for a long time, and it's completely killed marketing. We've got product placement. We talked about that yesterday, where people are putting their products into the movies, where they're hiding their products inside the narrative. James Bond is a great example. You've got he drives an Aston Martin. So Aston Martin actually paid a lot of money to put their cars into the movie. They paid to have their newly released car being driven by James Bond because it sells cars. He always wears an Omega watch. I can't remember the exact make and model, but it's an Omega watch, and you get all the Omega adverts advertising James Bond wears this watch. When they first released the Casino Royale, the first of the latest movies, Sony sponsored it. So in every shot, James Bond would be using a Sony laptop. He'd open it up, and the logo would be right there in the middle of the screen. Ford sponsored it, so this was an interesting one. So they put the Ford Mondeo in Casino Royale, but they hadn't got a Ford Mondeo. It was in production, and they needed it sort of 6 months before the car actually rolled off the production line. So they literally made a handmade custom car of a Ford Mondeo, even though a Ford Mondeo at the time was just a family car, like a Toyota Prius, nothing special. But they literally had to make a handmade one as a special effect to use in the movie, so that normal people, the average man in the street like me, would go and see this movie and say, oh, James Bond drives a Mondeo in this film, I might buy a Mondeo. And that's how it works. Product placement's a really great idea if you're not getting any other money from the movie any other way. And they reckon with something like James Bond, something between 50 and 70% of the revenue that pays for the film comes from product placement. So it's a huge deal. But it makes the movies pretty awful. I mean, you can always see the motorcycles, the cars, the watches, the phones, all these things. The logo is always on the screen. Look out for it. They all do it. There was a really, really great movie called Fight Club. If you ever get a chance to watch it, totally take that opportunity to watch it. And it was all about this kind of product placement and advertising. And in every single scene, there's a Starbucks coffee cup. Because at the time, Starbucks coffee cups were the ultimate symbol of corporate oppression. So, and the movie's about that. So it had the Starbucks coffee cups all the way through it to show you that this film was actually being sponsored by the kind of people it was actually against. And they'd kind of scored this ironic victory. So advertising comes in all forms, and it's all over the place. Now, it's not going to be too much of a surprise to many of you that advertising, being a pretty nasty industry, is run by some pretty nasty people, and they do some pretty nasty things. It's not going to be a surprise. So we're going to look at this video with, I think it's 16 different points, 16 different facts about marketing and advertising. It's not too adult, but there is a reference in there that's a little bit naughty. So anyone that's easily offended will have to put their hands over their ears for that one. You'll see. Basically, it's pretty meat and potatoes. It's something you see anywhere on YouTube. So I strongly suggest, because there's a quiz to it, there's a 20-question multiple choice quiz. I strongly suggest that you follow the link in Google Class and watch it yourself. You're going to get a better view. I'm going to put it now into the classroom so you can watch it. And that's all there is for today. You're welcome to do the quiz as the video runs. I recommend you do, but the choice is yours. Okay, so I'm going to run it now into the tab, but also you're welcome to go on YouTube and watch it directly off the link, and you can start doing the quiz straight away. I have randomized the question order to make it a little bit more challenging for you, but it's entirely up to you what you do with it. All right, guys, thanks very much. That's all we will have for today. I think there's another question at the end just to fill in the dead time if anybody finishes early. Okay, guys, thank you very much.